And we're back to the Python Institute, this time lab number 4.1.3.7, talking about how many days and using more functions. Here it actually tells us there is a prerequisite for this lab, which is lab 4.1.3.6. Now, if you caught my prior video, we looked at that and we actually saw that that used the basis of another lab, which was in chapter or module 3, 3.1.1.13, where we defined whether something was a leap year or not. But let's see, 4.1.3.7, it says that we need that lab to be done before we move on. And that's why I opened it up in a different tab. That way I have this code readily available for me to access. The objectives: projecting and writing parameterized functions using the return statement and utilizing the student's own functions. So the scenario, your task is to write and test a function which takes two arguments, a year and a month, and returns the number of days for the given value. While only February is sensitive to the year, your function should be universal. The initial part of the function is ready. Now convince the function to return none if the arguments don't make sense. Of course, you can and should use the previously written and tested function in 4.1.3.6. It may be very helpful. We encourage you to use use a list filled with the month's lengths. You can create it inside the function. This trick will significantly shorten the code. And we've prepared testing code. Expand it to include more test cases. Just like in the prior 4.1.3.6, we can see that there are some lists here with test years and test months, as opposed to just simply test years previously, and the appropriate test results. And then they use the same kind of model of using a range to loop through them, loading up the test month and test year, as well as the test result. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and assume that the is leap year function is going to be exactly the same for 4.1.3.6. Not only is the function name the same, but it actually tells me this is your code from 4.1.3.6. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that. I'm going to copy that and put it into 4.1.3.7. So hopefully right there, I've already done half the commands necessary for this script. Let's see, then we need to figure out the days of the month. And we can see here in the function, we're defining two different variables that will be passed to it. The first one is the year, and the second one is the month. So that means we will have two different variables that we can start working with. Let's see, let's look through the test data really quick. Line number 25 here is the one that's of interest to me. Specifically because it says the result is equal to days in month, and then it passes in the year and the month. That means that this code right here calls this function. That also means that somewhere in this function, I need to call that function as well to determine if it's a leap year or not. So that helps me understand the flow of what I need to do. Let's see. So it actually, the scenario actually gave me a little bit of help. It says you can and should use a previously written and tested function in 4.1.3.6. And then you should also use a list filled with the month's lengths. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a list. So let's go ahead and delete this code right here. And I'm going to start off by creating a list just called, month days. And in this list, I'm going to go ahead and put in the number of days in every single month. I just happen to have a calendar open elsewhere. So see, January has 31 days, February 28, March 31, 30, 31, 30, 31, 31, 30, excuse me, 31, 30, and 31. Let's see if I did that correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes, 12 months. All right. And I hope I typed all those correctly and did not fat finger anything. So now I have a list of all the months. So now I can go ahead and say, oh yes, this month has this many days and that month has that many days. I do have to be careful because right here, for instance, in 1900, it's saying the second month. The second month of 1900 is February. But on this list, we are zero bound, which means the first month is 0, the second month is 1, the third month is 2. So I have to be careful that when I'm passing 2 in there, I actually want to refer to February, not to March. Hopefully that makes sense. It will hopefully will make more sense if we move forward. All right, so the next thing I want to do with this script is I want to find out, maybe be a little bit more specific. What is this a leap year? Maybe at this is the best point to be able to look to see, is this a leap year or maybe even not? Yeah, I'm going to say yes. Find out if it's a leap year or not. So I'm going to start calling my function is leap year. Let's actually start off with if. Is year leap? And then I'm going to pass the year into it. Sure. If it is a leap year, and only if it's a leap year, then it will return a true. And if it returns a true, then we'll go into this function, into this if statement. The next question is, what month am I being passed in? Am I being passed in January, February, March, April, May, or what? So if I could do another if statement, and I could say if month equal to, so if it's February, then that means it's a leap year and it's February, so I need to return 29 days. And I can do just that. I can just simply type return 29. Previously, when we used a return function or return statement, we returned a true or a false up here in our first function. Return true, return false. We could return a whole lot more. We could return a string, a number, a list, a dictionary object. We could return quite a few different things. Previously, we just returned true and false. I could also return a number. Perfect. So if it's a leap year, and if the month is February, then go ahead and return 29. Otherwise, what I want to do is I want to come back to this if statement, and I want to do an else. Actually, I may not even need to do an else. I could leave that else off. Yeah. What I could do here is I could just return a value for the month. So see, I have my variable here called month days. So I'm just going to return month days and then return the existing month. Now this is where I have the problem, however. This month right here is the calendar month, with 1 being January, 2 being February, and so on. Month days, however, is 0 based. So the 0 right here is January, and 1 is February, and 2 is March. January, March. Yeah. So what I need to do is not just return month, but I need to return month minus 1. So if I turned in a 2 for the month, then 0, 1, 2 would be March. So if I say month minus 1 would still be February. All right, I think I have it. Let's give it a shot. So it's got 4 tests there, 1900 and February, says it's okay. 2000 in February, says it's okay. 2016 in February, okay. And then 1987 and November, it says is okay. So there you have it, working more with our functions, utilizing the return codes in multiple ways. Here we're using the return directly for a number, and then here we're utilizing the return to return the value of one of the lists. Now this section right here could have actually been optimized a little bit. I have an if statement followed by an if statement, and only if both of these are true would I actually return the number 29. I could have actually optimized this just a little bit by saying if it's a leap year and then using the keyword and saying month equal 2. By using the and statement there, that says that both of those have to be true, and only if both are true will it then return 29. If it is a leap year but it's not February, it won't return 29. If it's not a leap year but it is February, it won't return 29. Instead, it will just pull right from here. Now, I could have come through here and I could have changed this to an else statement and then did the return. However, it's because this return statement right here would have escaped me out of this function. Don't really need to say else because it really is already else. So there you have it. How many days in the year? How many days in a specific month based on a month and day statement.